You know what? That doesn't mean that Hillary would have been a good choice
No.
either. She was a terrible choice. She's a corrupt politician, one of the most unlikable people that's ever run for office. She, in so many ways,
Crazy
and
shit.
they were trying to get it. They were trying to get people to be supporting her just because she's a woman. There was a lot of that. It's like, this is going to be her history. You know, women, ladies, I stand with her. So there's all these women that have this blind allegiance towards this career.
But Hillary is just like almost an android.
What do you mean by that?
She's not like, can you imagine talking with her about like human pain and like stuff that you're going through? Absolutely, like it wouldn't
Register.
You would exactly. You would never be able to reach her heart.
She lost the presidency, spun the defeat into some kind of destiny, and still hasn't figured out when to bow out. While the rest of America moved forward, she lingered like a political pop-up, noisy, outdated, and frustratingly hard to get rid of. Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David aren't interested in playing nice or tiptoeing around the narrative. They're here to tear down years of carefully crafted spin. From the email controversies to the murky dealings of the foundation, they're cutting through the illusion with sharp humor, biting sarcasm, and facts that dismantle every excuse she's recycled for public consumption.
For what really is going on. Like, I was infuriated when people that I knew that I was friends with were trying to tell me that Hillary Clinton was a good choice. And that's the same choice. I'm like, look, I don't know if she's murdered people, but I know that I worry that she's murdered people. That's a real. I really wonder. Like this Seth Rich shit.
I know. First of all, just leave. You don't even need to go there. You know,
there's so many other things.
There's so many other things that we know for a fact.
The Clinton Foundation, for instance.
What was Hillary like? I hear she's a sweetheart.
Really? That's a joke,
obviously,
right?
I'm being.
That's
I'm being
oh my god!
I just wanted to see a reaction.
That's one person that's not a sweetheart. That's not a sweetheart.
What was she like?
She's very cynical and jaded.
Cynical or jaded. So that means at one point she wasn't cynical and jaded.
I probably wasn't.
Hillary Clinton still carries herself as if the presidency was promised to her, like the White House was her personal reservation, and someone had the audacity to take her spot. Her sense of entitlement isn't just present, it's layered on thick, with a topping of dynasty nostalgia. Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David didn't need to create any new material for this takedown. All they had to do was follow the trail of political breadcrumbs she's been leaving since the 1,992nd crumbs, soaked in controversy, media manipulation, and speeches that often sound like a malfunctioning robot trying to charm a room with a broken script.
If I have 10 people that at one point in my life were best friends, and prior to meeting me, they had never done cocaine before. These 10 people, 10 out of 10, eventually became cocaine addicts and killed themselves, simply by association with me. I probably have some bad influence on these people. This lady named Hillary Clinton, one too many of her best friends or close friends have committed suicide in the random ways. She is not the most trusted person, even by the left. She was supposed to be president.
You know what people stop talking about? Do you remember when they blamed Benghazi on some bullshit
video
movie? Yeah, some video that someone made.
Right.
Was it like the Tears of Muslims or something like that? Or I forget that.
Nobody even knew it existed.
Nobody knew it existed. And everybody knew it was bullshit.
Right.
And they were pushing that as a narrative. Like, this is what was the motivation behind. And everybody.
She turned her defeat into a personality trait, as if losing was some kind of badge of honor. And it wasn't just any loss, it was one of the most dramatic political faceplants in recent memory. Yet she still walks around like the nation messed up and is bound to come crawling back, like a delusional ex hoping for a dramatic reunion. Her political journey isn't a story of growth, it's a tired rerun no one asked to see, rebooted. But here she is again, chiming in from the sidelines like a coach who never won a game but still insists she's got the winning strategy and that her whistle holds meaning.
Out of this list, who's the most important?
Out of this list, it's Bill Clinton. But Bill Clinton will not say shit. Hillary Clinton will not say anything. He's the former president of the United States. When did he leave office? 25 years ago. You think retroactively Bill Clinton is going to be held responsible for anything? Zero. The only person who's ever been attempted to be held responsible for anything is Donald Trump. Why? Because the entire system, the entire swamp was trying to get him. And even then, it didn't work. And by the inch of a bullet, he's still here.
Joe Rogan saw the smoke and jumped right into the fire without a second thought. Hillary's entire campaign message could be boiled down to one thing. At least I'm not the other guy. But in the process, she forgot to become someone people actually liked. She invested more effort in polishing her image than in forming real connections with voters. What emerged was a carefully crafted persona that eventually buckled under the pressure of her own awkwardness. Patrick Bet David didn't even need to take shots, he just held up her greatest hits. The shifting accents, the awkward attempts to relate, the flip-flopping on issues, her political gymnastics spoke for themselves.
So there's all these women that have this blind allegiance towards this career politician. It's completely full of shit. She's been full of shit forever. If you watch the conversation between James Comey, when James Comey testified about what he did and what they found with the Hillary Clinton emails, and then her version of it, she's just a straight liar.
Yeah.
She deleted 30.
Let's get into the email saga. Oh yes, the emails. Hillary handled classified documents like they were old shopping lists, storing them on personal servers as if she were designing the most disastrous escape room ever conceived. She erased public trust faster than she deleted files. And when the backlash hit, her defense boiled down to pretending the country simply didn't get how tech works. Patrick called it for what it truly was, a masterclass in avoiding responsibility, delivered with a smug smile and a server stacked with excuses.
Bill Clinton officiated your wedding with Huma, your wife, if I'm not mistaken. Correct. So you've been very close, and your wife, is it still wife or is it ex-wife? I think it's separated since 2017, right?
We're separated. We co-parent Jordan, but we're separated.
Okay. And, you know, she was a right-hand person to Hillary Clinton in 2016 while the scandal was taking place.
For years before that, she was with Hillary for, she's 20 years.
And the whole thing with the life insurance, you know, the email, 650,000, the one folder with the word life insurance and the files that are in there. So the next thing that people said you got to ask him is the following. So, you know, Rob, if you can pull up this story, I'm not going to buy into this one. Well, 9 out of 12 cops, NYPD, who saw the email and saw what was in that laptop, you know, committed suicide. And it was, you know, 7 of them since June, and it was the most ever that this took place. And
Jo took one glance at the carefully crafted public image. She pushed the pantsuits, the rehearsed smiles, the forced, "I'm just like you" photo ops, and saw right through it like it was made of mist and campaign cash. Her efforts to appear relatable felt more like a billionaire awkwardly trying to fit in at a rundown bar, nothing connected. Every story she told felt like it had been written by one committee, then passed to another just to make it sound human. By the time the words reached her mouth, they were dry, robotic, and uncomfortable enough to make voters squirm. And when she went off script, Joe Rogan, through laughter, pointed out how every attempt to be authentic blew up worse than a college kid's first DIY rocket launch. She tried to be warm. She tried to be strong. She tried to be cool, and somehow landed nowhere. Just a stiff presence gliding across campaign stages, fueled by obligation rather than connection.
Big problem. That Clinton Foundation is fucking insane. And all these people that were blind supporters of Hillary that didn't look at that, like, how do you not find a giant problem with that?
Right, right. And that book by Schweitzer talks about it. He goes in detail about that stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure. How's that guy staying
I'm
alive?
surprised. That's what I was just going to say. After the Clinton
cash, going
cash,
after the Russians.
Dude, Clinton cash was bad enough. This one's even worse. I'm surprised he's not dead.
I wonder how many people are actually...
Joe didn't hold back for a second. He tore into her foreign policy record like it was the final round of a reality show, where failure meant elimination. From the chaos in Libya to the confusion in Syria, her global track record looked more like a trail of instability than diplomacy. She always came prepared with a speech, a smirk, and a catchy slogan, but never with a plan that actually worked. Yet every time, she stood there, with her chest out, like she'd just cured climate change, all while the world burned quietly behind her. And then there's the Clinton Foundation, a so-called non-profit that raked in cash as if it were trading influence instead of trying to help anyone. Patrick didn't need to speculate the numbers made more noise than any of her campaign crowds. Foreign money, suspicious ties, and a tangled mess of blurred lines between charity and political power. It wasn't a foundation. It was a financial pipeline dressed up as public service. And somehow, questioning any of it was treated like an attack on progress itself.
The Hillary Clintons are the people that are like maybe disrespectful to the servers, and you find out about it, they sent food back.
The Democrat wall of support for Hillary Clinton's use of a private, unsecure server for official government emails and attachments. Yeah, I remember all of that.
It's not the main guy, it's the support staff.
Her party rallied to her defense. And to this day, it maintains she did nothing wrong. Of course.
The main people are not the president.
As if that woman has a scintilla of credibility credibility on any issue related to national security.
The main
They need
people
the
are the
people to
people
do
that are
it.
running Raytheon,
Yeah.
the people that are running these gigantic companies that make weapons.
Exactly what is her list of successes? From Haiti to Benghazi, she was a total
That excuse got played so often it became a scratched-up record spinning in a jukebox that was already on fire. Joe's takedown of that strategy was sharp and unforgiving. He pulled back the curtain on the so-called empowerment narrative to reveal the manipulation underneath. And then came the infamous Russia blame tour. According to Hillary, Russia was responsible for everything but pulling the fire alarm at her campaign HQ. No one escaped. Blame not the media, not the FBI, not the Green Party, not the voting machines, not even the weather. If it existed, she blamed it. Rogan and Bet David took turns unpacking that mess, peeling back each layer of excuse to show a core built on denial and privilege. She didn't lose because of foreign interference, she lost because the public saw through her. She drifted through Washington like a vague shadow, more interested in prepping for her crowning moment than actually leading. She wasn't a public servant, she was a placeholder, biding her time until the next campaign launch.
And rightly so, but people forget this. She did talk about a firefight that she was involved in.
I was under sniper fire. And the worst thing about that people didn't give a shit about, she said when she was in Bosnia, she was under sniper fire. It's like, wait a minute, you're throwing the Secret Service under the bus. Because what kind of Secret Service is going to let the First Lady run under sniper fire? And she just basically...
And when Benghazi entered the conversation, Hillary pulled out her best political acrobatics, denials, evasions, and a conveniently spotty memory. It was a full-blown performance. Families demanded answers, and the country wanted the truth. Instead, they were served a string of confusing statements that left a bitter aftertaste of regret and poor judgment. Rogan ripped that moment apart, calling it a turning point where the carefully crafted image cracked, and the public saw the calculated detachment hiding beneath the scripted responses. That wasn't leadership, it was public relations damage control dressed up as crisis management. Her media approach was just as disconnected. Hillary insulated herself with yes men and consultants who believed that focus group data mattered more than gut-level truth. Every gesture, every phrase, every slight head tilt felt rehearsed to the point of emptiness. Truth was never her strong suit. Her administration defaulted to secrecy, classify first, explain never. Anyone who exposed the truth wasn't viewed as a whistleblower, but as a threat. So much for the transparency she loved to promise on the campaign trail.
So many other things.
There's so many other things that we know for a fact.
The Clinton Foundation, for instance.
So, the Iraq War. I'm old enough, Joe, to remember when being for the Iraq War was a disqualifier in a Democratic primary. That's where I'm from. That's why she lost to Barack Obama the first goddamn time she ran.
Right.
And all of a sudden, we're supposed to... Now people, like Joy Behar says, that was a long time ago. Forget about it. Why don't you go tell that to a soldier's... to a mother?
Patrick's breakdown of her double standards was like a surgical roast, sharp, controlled, and brutally effective. Joe, meanwhile, approached her post-2016 speaking gigs the way a sports analyst reviews a losing team's worst plays. She moved from the campaign trail to a lucrative speaking circuit, collecting massive checks from banks, tech companies, and anyone else eager to snap a photo with a once powerful name now trading on faded influence. Hillary Clinton turned into the keynote speaker for political irrelevance, charging premium rates to repurpose past failures with a fresh coat of spin. Her speeches weren't motivating, they were itemized receipts for political favors. And every time she resurfaces to offer advice, the national cringe is instant and intense. She has a gift for showing up exactly when no one wants her to. She drifts in, drops an out-of-touch opinion, and disappears as if she's just done everyone a favor. Rogan compared it to someone barging into a dinner party only to scold the host about table manners. It's the political equivalent of wearing a luxury brand while preaching about closing corporate tax loopholes. Bet David captured that contradiction perfectly, revealing the hollow branding behind her entire political persona.
You know what people stopped talking about? Do you remember when they blamed Benghazi on some bullshit
Video.
movie?
Yeah.
Some video that someone made.
Right.
Was it like the Tears of Muslims or something like that? Or I forget the...
Nobody even knew it existed.
Nobody knew it existed. And
Yeah.
everybody knew it was bullshit.
Right.
And they were pushing that as a narrative. Like, this is what was the motivation behind. And
And the most baffling part is that she's still floating the idea of running again like a bad sequel no one asked for, ready to crash ratings and test the nation's patience all over again. Joe and Patrick could hardly keep a straight face. The thought of Hillary Clinton entering another race isn't just out of touch. It's nostalgia turned into a weapon. pushed by someone who refuses to acknowledge the shift in public mood. The crowd left long ago, and yet she's still on stage, reciting lines to an audience that already changed the channel. She treats rejection like a scheduling hiccup, not a clear message, as if the entire country just forgot to applaud. But they didn't. They chose twice, and that silence wasn't accidental. Still, she paces the spotlight like it's only a matter of time before the cameras roll again. Joe and Patrick zeroed in on that refusal to step aside. It's not determination, it's ego dressed up as purpose. Even the DNC, behind the scenes, seems quietly relieved every time she teases a run but doesn't follow through. The party's moved forward, the voters too. But Hillary lingers like a ghost in the political machine, dragging along the chains of missed opportunities and worn-out narratives. And rather than silence her, Joe and Patrick read those stories back to her annotated and unfiltered.
They rigged the DNC, they rigged the primaries so that Bernie Sanders was going to lose. She had her people into the DNC
that was crazy.
Way in advance. That Donna Brazile book about it is mind-blowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing was, he was packing fucking stadiums.
Yeah.
She couldn't even fill a fucking high school gymnasium.
Right. But she was pulling all the strings, and she had all the favors that she was pulling in, and she had a shit ton of money behind her, and they were completely arrogant, and all the liberal elite in the media thought there was no chance that she was going to lose. She's 95% shoe-in to win the presidency, and she walked around like...
And still, she lingers waiting for the next camera, the next platform, the next round of applause that never arrives. The roast doesn't end because her ambition never takes a break, and neither do the ones calling it out. The punchlines write themselves as she continues to hover on the sidelines like a quarterback benched seasons ago, still gripping a playbook no one runs anymore. The more she speaks, the more deafening the silence from voters becomes. It's not that people forgot, it's that they've watched this rerun too many times. The same speeches, the same talking points, the same stiff delivery dressed up as passion. Joe and Patrick didn't need a dramatic conclusion, they simply showed how her story ends on repeat. Not as the glass ceiling breaker she claimed to be, but as a political cautionary tale in a pantsuit, confusing ambition for connection and media spin for real leadership. This roast doesn't wrap up because Hillary's political saga refuses to fade, uninvited, unwanted, yet somehow still pressing forward. Joe and Patrick don't have to say farewell. They just keep pulling out more receipts from the closet she insists is already cleared.